And now, a story that happened in the 20th century.
So long ago.
February 1979. The Bronx had burned. Now it was my turn. By the time I was 18, I knew that Latin men were most women's fantasies. But I had lived with Latin men my entire life. I heard them yell. I saw them eat. I watched them scratch. I wanted something different, and I had it. My first real actual boyfriend, a tall, blonde Irish boy named Brendan the Burnout Riley. We had been going out for almost a year, and I was almost happy until I met Easy Eddie Torres. I saw Easy Eddie at the schoolyard we hung out, 192 schoolyard on Hollywood and East Tremont Avenue up in Frog's Neck in the Bronx, and he was leaning against a chain link fence, smoking a bone, which is what we used to call joints, and drinking a champagne. I dropped Brendan's hand and stared. An hour later, after 2 6-packs of beer and 3 joints, I found out that he was half Cuban and half Irish and came from Miramar, Florida, the town like really close to where my family came from. And for the first time in my life, I felt a quickening, a twinge of liquid heat between my thighs, a signal I had not yet felt with Brendan or anyone else. By the time he finished the second 6-pack, I learned that Easy Eddie wasn't seeing anyone, and so far as I was concerned, that was it. It didn't matter that he wore a members-only jacket and had 5 scraggly hairs on his chin. For the first time in life, I was in lust. I was in love with Eddie. It was perfect except for one thing. My boyfriend. A boyfriend whom, after almost a year together, I had still not had sex with. A boyfriend who stopped a marathon makeout sessions only when he could not take it any longer, and then, well, we took care of it with our hands. But he never made me feel stupid about it. Sweet, goofy Brendan, who I drew cartoons with, got stoned with, listened to music with, had fun with, and felt as comfortable with as my own skin. Yeah, whatever. Ever since that night, I was at 192 schoolyard every chance I got. I heard Eddie liked Led Zeppelin, so I did what I did best. I took a couple of Black Beauties and stayed up all night painting a couple of Led Zeppelin 4 on the back of my dungaree jacket, including all the runes. I wore it out that night, even though it was only 38 degrees and raining, only to hear Eddie say that Zeppelin now sucked and the Clash ruled. And I was like, the Clash? Who the fuck were they? I went to the Washington Square head shop record store looking for the album. They said, we don't carry imports. I even tried drinking champagne, but it made me puke, and you don't understand. I was getting desperate because everywhere I looked, I saw Easy Eddie. I saw Easy Eddie when I was making out with Brendan every day. I saw Easy Eddie when I lay with my legs spread under the bathroom faucet every night. And when my bearded Titi Carmen dragged me to church because in my crazed teenage lust, I forgot to lock the bathroom door the night I stayed over. I looked up at Pastor Ramirez, and I saw Easy Eddie. But Easy Eddie didn't notice me. But then, one day he did. It was my best friend Joni Boom Boom's birthday party on St. Patrick's Day. And he walked up to me and asked me for a light. A light! Oh my God, I'm trembling. I lit a cigarette and he just started talking to me. And he said that he had heard that I was Puerto Rican. And I was like, yeah, no, sí, yeah. And he told me he was half Cuban and that, you know, we were the only blood around and maybe we should go salsa dancing one night. And never mind that I had just met him like a couple of weeks before, and never mind that I had barely spoken to him, and never mind that I listened to Led Zeppelin. I never danced salsa in my life. Never mind that I already had a boyfriend. But I went. We met at a storefront club on 106th Street in Spanish Harlem. I didn't want him to pick me up at our park in case anyone from the neighborhood saw us. As I got off the subway at 103rd Street, I realized that I had never been in my parents' old neighborhood before. But that's okay. It was only fitting that I was returning to claim my one and only true Latin love. And instead of walking into an illegal social club that night, I saw a starlit realm that I imagined to be the Rainbow Room, Saturday Night Fever, and CBGB's all rolled into one. And he saw me right away and took me to the bar where he bought me an Amaretto Sour. A sign that saw true love. And when that sign had been drained dry, he bought me another, and another, and still another. And finally, he took me by the hand and led me to the dance floor. You sure you can handle this, he asked? Because ain't no punk rock, you know. The sight of Easy Eddie in his Lativa shirt drove me wild. And I couldn't wait to show him all my fresh moves, which after 4 drinks and an empty stomach, because you know girls don't drink when they're going out with boys, were the kick to the shins, the elbow to the neck, and finally the ass on the floor. But I didn't care. I was with Easy Eddie, and when he finally gave up and led me to a sofa, all I could think was he was going to kiss me and I was going to die. I had a flashback of Brendan's and mine's 6-month anniversary. I found a rose on the bed, a bottle of Mateus on the nightstand, and Led Zeppelin's Since I've Been Loving You playing on the stereo. Speaking of flashbacks, there was a time I took a hit of acid that was too speedy, and I had my one and only really bad trip, but Brendan didn't let me freak out. But I shook all that off. That was puppy love. This was real. And when Easy Eddie kissed me, all thoughts evaporated from Brendan just like the 1977 blackout. I felt a gush of heat like the night in the schoolyard, only now in a more urgent way. It felt like my insides were going to melt, the way it did when I touched myself. Brendan never kissed me like that. Brendan didn't make me feel like that. Who the hell was Brendan anyway? I made up for my shortcomings as a dancer with what I knew was my superior make-out ability. And then, a half an hour later, when Brendan always stopped, Eddie stopped too. Come on, I'll drive you home. Eddie had a car too. Life was too perfect. But instead of driving me home, he drove to the parking lot at Orchard Beach. Oh, he wants to make out some more, I thought. Cool. We got into the back seat, shared another bone, and started making out again. But this time was different. He pulled up my dress and put his hand down the waistband of my pantyhose, something Brendan had never done before. I pushed him away. What's the matter? You don't gotta be nervous. It's just me, Easy Eddie. We started making out again, and I let his hand move around down there. I really didn't like it. It didn't feel like my fingers did. This felt scratchy and burny and just plain wrong. The rising volcano that had been inside me spluttered and went out. I dismissed it. No, this is it, I thought. I'm finally going to get down with someone, and it's going to be Eddie, and we're going to go out, and he's going to buy me an ankle bracelet, and I'm going to wear it, and he's going to come to all my teachers' houses, and then... Mami, dime me quieres. Tócame el bicho. What? Tell me you want me. Touch my dick. Ow, not like that. Okay. Yeah, papi. Oh, papi. Si, papi. Okay. Eddie took his hand out of my underwear. I could smell myself, which both frightened and aroused me. I couldn't wait for what I was sure was going to happen next. Instead, it was Eddie who sat up. Okay, nothing. You don't even speak Spanish right. Oh, what the hell. Eddie straddled me and in one motion tried to take my pantyhose and panties, the weapon by which I was supposed to control men, off. I froze. I said no. Eddie sat up again. Are you a fucking virgin? You're a fucking virgin, aren't you? You know something? You're full of shit. You're worse than all those white girls. You're fake. Forget it. He pulled up his pants, climbed into the front seat, and pulled out of the parking lot. And you're lucky I'm a nice guy, because otherwise I'd make you blow me. And then I'd make you walk home. On that horrible ride home, I stayed in the back seat trying to put myself together, and I realized the truth. Eddie didn't like me because I could draw, or because we liked the same music, or because we got high and had fun together, or because I was Latin like he was. He didn't like me at all. Eddie never liked me. He just wanted to fuck. And what was now churning my stomach and threatening to explode from my eyes was that I had to admit I wanted to fuck too. Except I wanted to fuck my boyfriend. And then the next day, I found out that Eddie was going around saying that I had given him a blowjob. A blowjob? That was a blow from which your reputation could never recover. I mean, you could get down with every boy you met, but to have it known that you sucked the boy's dick? In the immortal words of Janie DeWays, that's not necessary. Any girl who does that is a filthy hooah. There was no way that that lie can make it down to the park. So, because I could never show my face anywhere ever again. What was I supposed to do? It wasn't like I could go and make new friends. I was just out of high school now. So I forced myself to get out of bed, get dressed, and go to 192. And I walked into the schoolyard, and I saw Eddie shaking. And I started shaking, just like I had lit a cigarette for him at Nikki's house a week and a lifetime ago. I didn't blow you, and you know it. Did I? Did I? He was speechless. Everyone stared. And finally, I could feel my entire body flame on, just like in the backseat of Eddie's car, but now in an entirely different way. Somehow my shame had given me power, and instead of using my panties as a weapon, I used words. Hey, why don't you tell him the truth? You couldn't even get it up. And you know why? Because it's small. Get bent. And I threw my lit cigarette at him. And Eddie yelled something at me, but I didn't care. That was the easy part, and it was done. Now I had to make it right somehow with Brendan. And no matter how much I cried, he said to me, I'll go back with you on one condition. We have to do it. And so finally, on March 13th, 1979, we went to Orchard Beach. He spread out a quilt, rolled out a sleeping bag, and twisted a cap off a bottle of Little Rhine Bear, the cheap Leaper milk that was one step above Matus and my favorite. And the burner and shell finally did it. Now, except for the sand, I felt nothing. But soon that would change. Brendan was just as patient and gentle as he has always been. For the entire 4 weeks it took me to finally realize, oh, so this is why people do it. And it would be another couple of weeks after that before I understood what people said about boys with big hands and big feet like Brendan was all too true. And the not-so-sad truth was, Eddie was small. Thanks.